What's love got to do with it? We're going to let our love flow like an open stream. We are letting our love flow to all living things. And we're going to talk about love tonight. We're going to talk about your love life. We're going to talk about your self-love. We're going to talk about the energy of connection to the divine and how we should all show a little bit more love. Been some interesting conversations across social media about love, and well, it's just been interesting again, right? Once again, another week of people expressing themselves. But how do you express love? What is your love language? What way do you show affection? Are you the person who gives words of affirmation? Are you that person who shares that physical touch? How do you express your love? How do you let people know that you love them? Is it an act of service that you do? How do you express the meaning of love? But before we think about how you express it, let's take a look at how did you learn love? Who were your teachers of love? Were you taught by your parents? Some of us weren't very well taught, right? And then were you taught by some of your friends and other people who were role models? And then how did you learn to love yourself? How did you learn to appreciate yourself? To understand truly who you are? And when did that connection of love for the divine come in? How did you recognize the energy of God and the power that love really is? This unconditional love. And how do you interpret unconditional love? And do you think unconditional love is possible? Love is a powerful force of energy. Love has the power to create. Love has the power to build. Love has the power to shift consciousness and energy around us. Love has the power to heal. And love and laughter hold a similar vibrational pattern because it's a high frequency. It's a light-hearted energy. But even laughter has its moments. Is your laughter to defend yourself, to hide your insecurities? Or is your laughter the laughter that's that belly laughter that you can't stop yourself from laughing because something catches you off guard and tickles your fancy and you can't stop? How do we find that moment of wholeness, oneness, that one love? And then how do you find the partner? So many days I spend across from people and they're looking for their person. I want to find my person. And the first question is, do you love yourself? Do you love yourself enough to be ready for your person? Or are you holding on to a lot of old wounds and messages from the past? Or past experiences with other loves that do not let you move yourself forward? Do not let you allow someone in so that they can truly love you. You see, love is a very patient energy. Love holds a frequency that allows people and energy to grow. Love holds a vibration that speaks without any words being spoken. Love holds that energy that lets you know that you feel safe, that you're heard and you're seen. Love holds the energy that speaks kind words. And softness is the tone of love. Love is an energy that blends with all of nature. It allows itself to be flexible. And it allows itself to hold the energy that is sacred to each individual. So no, not everybody's expression of love is the same. Love itself is a constant, current, positive force. It is actually the most powerful force in the universe. But each person's interpretation and expression of love, well, there lies another story. We can look at the unconditional love of the divine and heaven and the angels and their acceptance and seeing everything as perfect, even though we as humans see it as not perfect, flawed. But the divine sees everything as a cause and effect that goes in the flow of the universe, ever bending, ever changing, harmoniously one, and allowing each individual aspect of the universe, each individual aspect of the earth, each individual aspect of a human to just be and unfold in its own originality. You see, love doesn't hold these judgments and grudges. Love doesn't hold the energy of disappointment. Love just holds the energy of being, a frequency. So how do we as humans hold the energy of love when we've been faced with disappointment? We've had difficulties in communication. Perhaps growing up, we weren't loved. Perhaps the words that were spoken to us were hurtful and painful from the adult that was supposed to love us and that we were told loves us. But then their actions and their words were so far removed from that it created confusion. And so mistakenly, we as young ones begin to associate some form of love with some type of battery of words and harshness, angst and anger. Words that are not spoken kindly, but words that are, well, hurtful and degrading, perhaps even breaking us down to the point of not even knowing who we are, but because we're so young and we rely on those around us and they're our tribe, we do our best to please them. And then we learn that we're the problem. We're the reason why they behave that way, because if we could only behave better as a little child, if we could only love more and be more attentive and paying attention to all of their ways and instructions, then they would love us. So we try harder. But the fault doesn't lie with the child. Mischievous, I'm sure, because it is a child. It lies in the adult's inability to hold the space to allow the child to be the child. It lies in the adult's inability to hold the energy of patience and to recognize that their wounds, their interpretation of love, is now spilling over from them onto their young one. And then the cycle repeats. And then we, as young ones, we grow. Yes, we grow to our high school years and we begin to do that thing that they call dating and flirting. And so we begin to express ourselves and try to build our confidence. But because we most likely still reside in the primary household, if there's a parent or an environment that doesn't foster our growth and our self-confidence and our ability to truly accept ourselves as who we are becoming and who we are to be and the energy that is unique unto us, even if it's not like a parent expected, if we're not receiving that nurturing and that kindness, then our wounds begin to grow deeper than the capacity of our heart to love, because the wounds have gone deep over so many years. And it is then in the woundedness that we choose and select those that we love or we think we love. And it is then that we choose and select those that surround us as our friends and our peers. It is then that we choose to not love ourselves because we can't see ourselves in our own originality and uniqueness and our beauty and our rare, immense capacity to be who we are and create from a place of love and the power that resides within. Because each person is unique, we cease to see ourselves that way. We see ourselves as our parents or our role models saw us. We see ourselves as the individual that is unable to please the parent. We see ourselves as the individual who needed to try to find a way to feel safe in an unhealthy environment. We see ourselves as not good enough or not measuring up to another. Perhaps the environment was perfectly wonderful. Perhaps there was just one sibling, that one sibling that stood out among all the rest, and they got the shine of light. Maybe you were the quiet one. And although not criticized, you weren't recognized. Although not embraced and loved in the same way, you were still acknowledged, but not recognized for your own uniqueness, your greatness. And so you walked in the shadow of another, trying to figure out who you really are. And then how to please in a different way. Perhaps that way wasn't comfortable for you, so you began to put yourself in a box of expression that wasn't unique or aligned with your soul. And then you felt like you were on the outside looking in. Or maybe the love life in the family, the energy was magnificent. And they did the best they could to nurture you, and you felt safe, and perhaps you had some great grandparents that were role models, and to be in their energy was priceless. And then you went out in your own way and began to go into your teenage years. Suddenly things didn't seem as pleasant or nice. You ran into individuals who were perhaps rude or judgmental. You couldn't find the clique that you fit in. So you began to shrink like a flower that didn't get enough sunlight. And you weren't able to really discover yourself in your high school years. And somehow you felt like you were always alone, even if you were in a crowd. And the only time you felt good was when you did check in with your family. But they're not coming with you to college. They're not going to be there with you on your first job. They're not coming out with you on a date. You're going to have to learn to stand on your own. So ultimately, the journey of love, although conditioned and learned from our parents or our society, our environment, our friends, those we choose to surround ourselves with, my goodness, the real journey is to love yourself and to find that love within and to find that aspect of you that has been created to express love, that aspect of you that has been created as this great bright light that needs to reach the highest of heights in your own unique way and to carve your path, your way, and to learn what makes your heart sing and feel free and dance within yourself and discover who you are and discover again and again and again in a way of rediscovery that each time you fall in love with you all over again, it is invigorating and unique. It takes you to a new level of energy and joy. And from that magnetic presence that you build around you, in this knowing that you love you, regardless of how everyone else has expressed their expression of love, because they come from where they are within themselves, by removing yourself from their expression and their conditioning and truly embracing the you that you've come to be, the magnificence that is within, it is there in that moment that you're free. No longer does another person's opinion of you matter. It would be great to have them on your side, but it doesn't define you. No longer does anyone's harsh words cut like a knife, because that's their expression of love. That's their inner frustration. Those are their wounds bleeding out. No longer does someone passing you over for a job or a promotion, although disappointing in the moment, no longer does that derail you or wound you or remind you of a story that was told when you were little, that you're just not good enough or that's just not your specialty, or maybe you won't amount to anything. So many words have been spoken, and the most magnificent thing of an infant when it's there in the environment is its ability to sense and feel. And its mind, newly activated, is awake and ready to record everything that is being presented to it. And so it takes it all in and it remembers. You remember. Even though many of you as children will say that you are happy and free, there's so many moments in our lives, in our childhood, that many of you don't remember, that are almost like blanks of time. Because there comes a point where your inner self, your true love of self, has to kind of blur around the lines of the wounds of others that are being cast out around you, so that your mind does not only compute the angst and the disappointment, the hurt and the pain and the angry words and the fighting or the hysteria or the drama or whatever's unfolding around you, and it begins to quell you in a lullaby of energy, of light and love. And it nestles you in a place where your higher self says, it's okay. We'll take this hit for you and you won't remember. Because we cannot have you suffer in this emptiness, in this void that doesn't resonate with the energy of love. It is in this discord of disappointment and human humiliation and destruction. So the higher self of your soul comes in and says, we know who you are, and there is love for you. And love doesn't hurt. Love is gentle and kind. Love speaks words of awareness, and love says, I feel you, and I understand you, and I regret when I'm out of the step of love, because I know what love is. Love has the ability and the humility to express that to another. Love feels the energy. Love reaches to the highest height of the divine and pulls down all the power that love is. And love beckons to you, your heart, your wounded self, and says, come with me and take my hand. Together we stand in an energy of perfection. Together we stand in the oneness and the wholeness of that which is you. For love is what created you. Love was the spark of light that ignited the act of love and energy between your parents. It is the light of the divine that chose to spark within them an energy to create you. It is not worthy of anything less than perfection, for love is always perfect. But because love is the energy that governs an entire universe and flows with everything on this planet, it is flexible, it is kind, it is forgiving. It learns to navigate and allow things such as hurt and pain to just wash over it. Never scratching, never hurting, never permeating its strong shield and essence. Because love is the power of God. It is invincible, it is indestructible. It is perfect in every way. And it has been cast into a human being imperfectly perfect, journeying through an expression of understanding one's emotions and one's thoughts, and learning as one grows older in this energy of a perhaps midlife crisis, that one says, I'm not in the energy of love. I'm still in the energy of my wounds and my hurt. It's time to let my love flow. It's time for me to give and shift and awaken myself, and then take my light and send it out, cast it out amongst the others. For love is holy. Love is whole. Love is one. Love doesn't see the flaw in the moment. It sees the light. Love expresses what it needs to shift and move. But love is not the energy that defeats another. Love is not the energy that has been placed before you to destroy you. Love is the energy that is meant to build you up. So here we sit in the journey of life, trying to just move forward in a time when we seemingly see so much, so far removed from the energy of love. And so we want to see the energy of love aligned. And so we want to see the energy of love grow. And so we want to see love in everything. Even if its actions and its words are less than perfect, we need to find the love. And when we see that there's darkness and it tries to pull us back to the energy of our childhood wounds or our expression of self that was slammed down, we need to choose the energy of love to be our fortress, to be this impenetrable boundary that those who wish to cause and inflict their wounds and hurt and pain upon us, it cannot penetrate. For love is a shield. Love is a fortress that guides us straight to the power of the universe and the divine. Let your love flow. No matter what you see in the world, no matter what you hear, do you choose to participate in the stories that are void of love or void of manners or void of kindness? Or are you going to choose to focus on the energy that represents love, that expresses love, that allows love to flow from you to another and move forward in the greatness that is the divine?